Shalom. You are standing in front of a freight wagon which was used for the deportation of Jews from their homes to the ghettos, concentration camps, and to extermination sites. From the beginning of the war, the plan to exterminate the entire Jewish population was gradually being formed by the Nazi regime. The first stage of the plan involved total discrimination against Jews. After that, the plan included expulsion and concentration of Jews into ghettos and labor camps, where many perished from hunger, disease, and exhaustion. Later, the Nazis turned to mass killing by shooting people over huge death pits and continued with killing by poisonous gas in insulated trucks. In 1942, after the Nazis determined that all these methods proved too inefficient, the plan of the extermination camps, where most of the mass killing would take place, began to be implemented. The camps were constructed in remote places in Eastern Europe, where the killing would be done efficiently and with no obstructions. Thus, the need arose for a train system that could transport millions of Jews from all over Europe and North Africa to these camps. Into this picture came the German railroad company called Reichsbahn. Together with the occupied country's train services and the Gestapo, they carried out the mission deceptively and with blood-chilling efficiency. Often, passenger wagons and freight wagons, like the one you see in front of you, were used. The operation demanded a replanning of all travel routes across the continent and restructuring of all railway staff to a particularly different function than usual. The trains leave full, but return empty. Payment for the trips to the railway companies were made by the victims themselves or by confiscating and selling the victims' property. The conditions in the boxcars were inhumane beyond belief. Crowdedness, suffocation, stench, fighting over access to the window, hunger, and thirst. The height of humiliation came with relieving oneself. Boxcars that were meant to carry only 8 cows or horses often carried 100 standing people and more. A train ride took days in these horrible conditions, and many perished on the way. For 4 years, tens of thousands of freight cars, just like the one in front of you, carried millions of Jews to their death. All the while, Germany was fighting a war, and its army depended on the railroads. Despite this, the transportation of Jews to the ghettos, concentration camps, and to extermination sites remained a high priority for the German regime and continued. The railway staff invested great efforts in managing the number of trains that leave, loading the boxcars to full capacity, and making rail lines available. All of this happened as the purpose of these trips could not be ignored. In the meantime, no one made even the slightest effort to stop the movement of these trains, neither the Allied forces or the partisans. The only attack on a railway transporting Jews happened in Belgium in 1943. A group of 3 resistance fighters stopped the train, opened the doors, and allowed the escape of 231 Jews. It was a single extraordinary act of bravery, showing the courage of a few, but sadly, too few. Because help never came, jumping off the moving train was the lone key to survival. The brave people that managed to jump out were often killed by doing so, or if they survived, were turned in to the German authorities by the locals. The freight wagon in front of you was brought here through the volunteer initiative of Mrs. Tatiana Ruge from Berlin and Mr. Roni Dotan from Israel. They both worked to memorialize the Holocaust, otherwise known as the Shoah, and instill its important lessons. After months of searching, this boxcar was found in an old train and railway junkyard in Germany. It was inspected for historical verification and brought here with the help of donors. During the renovation process of the wagon, hand-engraved Stars of David were found in 3 different locations on its chassis. It seems that they were engraved by a Jewish forced laborer that sent a message to the generations that would come. It is placed here to commemorate the Shoah and its victims. May it be a reminder that each of us must take responsibility in defending human rights, securing democracy, and assuring that atrocities like this never happen again. The freight wagon stands here as a symbol of the technological capabilities which enabled mankind to use a positive invention towards a negative and evil end. We are all obligated to do what we can to prevent evil, like experienced by the Jewish people in the Shoah. We must do this by way of education and by keeping human values. We would appreciate reading your stories and responses. We thank you for your visit, and thank you for your attention.